uncommon, common man. He once told me, I like the man that I shave every day in the medicine cabinet. And I think we could all learn from that. By the way, here's the save you money that I talked about before. Well, that's all I got. If I can answer. Yes.
I'm a completion freak. I need to know which car he picked.
I'm sorry, I'm a little hard of hearing. I didn't get it.
When he won the car, which car did he choose? The little baby blue one?
No, he took the big black four-door sedan. In fact, Gene and I got married in it.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Yes, ma'am.
You don't have a picture of like the bag, you know, the face, the woman's face and the hair. 'Cause I
The
remember
picture of the
that.
bag,
The logo,
the face.
the logo.
No, I don't. It's on the save you money, but it's very miniaturized.
However, we do have at our new Citizens Memorial out near Hal Card's house, we do have a plaque for Lloyd's, for Ed Lloyd, and it actually shows a building back in like the late 50s.
Early days, yeah.
Early days, so you might remember that.
Didn't he have a newspaper that he published on a weekly basis back in the...
Well, he had a column in the Record, in the Times Herald.
He also had a newspaper that he used to distribute with all his sales on when he was at 44 Ninth Avenue.
Oh, okay.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
You're probably too young.
Right, probably.
Where is he buried?
Where is he buried? Cemetery?
Bloomingburg Cemetery with my mother.
And the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, Tom, it might be interesting to see if you got some people here who used to work in that store.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, they are here. If they
Many
care to
people
say something.
Raise your hand.
There's a couple of ways.
Ed Lloyd.
We'll give-
Stand up. Happy birthday, Ed Lloyd.
Any other questions or comments, or?
I would like to know if he knows.
Could you have your name that you connected somehow?
Yeah, my father, Joe Conover, worked there.
Joe Conover is her father.
Sure. Joe and Eddie were.
Yeah, yes.
They were hard workers. They were such good people.
Yeah. But I was wondering if you know what caused the fire.
What caused the fire?
Well, it started in what was up over top of what used to be the Express checkout. And that's also where the shopping bag, the paper bags were stored. And we kind of think that maybe somebody was up there sneaking a cigarette before the store opened.
Oh, they got it up in the paper. Wow.
We never really know.
Who knew? Nancy, do you have a comment, or? Okay, let her rip. Oh, we might be in for a treat, folks.
I talked with Ange on the phone. He said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "I can picture you like it was yesterday."
Holy cow.
Well, I don't have as many papers as he has.
Thank God.
And 86 years old, so I kind of fumbled my way through this. But I'm deeply honored that when I saw that the write-up about Lloyd's Shopping Center in last Saturday's paper. I couldn't get on the phone fast enough, so I just spoke to Mr. Tice.
You called Russ.
And then
I called you.
Tommy called me, and I am so very pleased to be able to come up and say a few words. Well, anyway, I graduated high school in 1950, and that fall they were building Lloyd Shopping Center, and I went down there, and I was one of the first employees before the grand opening. And to me, I guess we all remember, nostalgia, reminisce, and we all remember our first bicycle, our first day in school, and so forth. And to me, this has brought back so many memories. And I'm very happy to come up here. I got a few notes over here that I'd like to run through. And son of a poor farmer, and my dad had a farm on the Howells New Vernon Road. And when I finished high school, to me, I didn't see no future in the farm, but my dad didn't have much, and and it broke his heart when I told him, Dad, I can't do this. So lo and behold, this is when I got my first job at Lloyd's. And my first job there, we were stocking shelves and what have you, and like Tom was saying, the grand opening was in December. Well, in the meantime, I got a title. I became what they call beverage manager, which it was my job. And that job entailed ordering the beverage, beer and soda and so forth, stocking the shelves, taking care of the empties and all, what have you. So anyway, that was great. I'm there a year or so, and a couple of my buddies, they felt, well, we're going to go down and work at Rockland State Hospital. And why don't you come down with carpool down and all that? So I said, okay. So I went in to talk to Ed Lloyd, and Ed, Mr. Lloyd to me, he didn't want to lose me. He gave me a sizable raise, and I stayed on. Well, lo and behold, 1953, gentleman right there has got the hat, Korean War.
Oh, yeah.
And at that time, all men would register for the draft. Everybody did their part. Well, I joined the Navy Reserve, went on active duty in 1953. So I did my tour, I come back out, and I came back to Lloyd's. Well, I figured, well, you know, getting on in age, I said, let me learn a trade. And I asked to be put in a butcher shop. Well, I found out in about 6 weeks that I wasn't a butcher. I was cutting my hand off. So lo and behold, my brother-in-law, who was an electrician up the Otisville Boys School, he says, Ange, they're hiring people up there. And I said, well, I don't know anything about watching kids and all that. He says, you don't have to. He says, all you got to do is make sure you keep them under control. Well, lo and behold, I started my state career in 1955. I did 34 years of state service, retiring out of the Mid-Hudson Psych Center. But along with that, with my Navy career, I stayed in the Navy Reserve, and I went to monthly meetings. I did my annual training duty. I did 34 years, and I retired as a senior chief petty officer, and which today is, I have the health benefits and so on, and that was one of the biggest, greatest moves that I ever made. Well, anyway, I have a couple of things about Lloyd's. When I got married, I had 3 children. My first son and my wife, he was born in 1959 in the wintertime. So we parked in the parking lot, and it was cold. I had my son in one arm, a bag of bottles in the other arm, and I found a cart there, and I threw him in there. My wife said, no, it's too cold, you can't pick it. I said, hey, I ain't cart. Well, lo and behold, Mr. Lloyd was quite a promoter and what have you, and at that particular time, he used to do things for the customers. He had a number on every one of the shopping carts, and the deal was, if you brought that shopping cart to the information booth, which we were telling about, that's where you got your free coffee.
Right.
If you brought your cart there in 5 minutes, you would collect wherever in the jackpot. And the jackpot, the way it worked, was they put $10 an hour and until it was collected, and then they start over again. Well, lo and behold, it was 20 hours. It was $200. Well, I got that $200. I thought I had all the money in the world. The young guy with a young son, I didn't have an awful lot at that time. Well, to me, that was a great memory. But other memories I had from going back to my original tour there, working there, Ed Lloyd was a great man. I mean, he valued the community. He valued his employees. He always came around and asked you how you're doing and this and that. I think Tom mentioned about the picnics and the clam bakes we had. I remember we had a couple of them at Horton Beach. I don't know if anybody here knows where Horton Beach is. It's on New Vernon Road and by Howells. And in fact, I have some pictures. If anybody here remembers any of the old people that might have worked at that time, I'll be glad to show them to you after. But anyway, let me get off my track here. I go back. I had my notes over here and I got away from them. Let me see if I can get you up where I was. Well, anyway,
Well, Ange, maybe we could bring you back for your own show here today.
Oh, no.
Everything you got there.
I think I covered it all.
Yeah,
You know, I
good.
get a little bit nervous and what have you. But anyway,
Did a great
to
job.
me, I think everybody has really understood it. He was an icon.
Okay.
I thank you for
very much.
having me up here.
I'll give you a
Thank
salute,
you.
pal.
Good to see you.
Actually, we were in the Naval Reserve together. We both learned how to march in Mulberry Street, but that's another one.
Thought you were a snorker.
Probably. You had rank on me, for sure. By the way, after the program, we do have coffee and a few things in the back. I know it's been a little bit long. Well, anyway, Tom, anybody else have any other shorter versions of
I have one.
Well, yes, ma'am.
Just a short one. My sister was front-end manager, Jane Donnelly Rosenhagen.
Jane
And
Donnelly.
my brother-in-law too worked there.
Sure.
And my brother's here who worked there. But one day my sister was on lunch and we met with her and we're walking by and her dad was in the car alone. And my sister, I just learned CPR and she goes, "You better knock on the door." Because we thought something was wrong with him. He was in the car sleeping. He goes, "No, my wife's just in shopping and I can't wait for her to get out." So, you know, he thanked us and he took our names, but he was always so nice to everybody. I worked for him and I know my sister and brother did too, so. he's a
One thing
great
my
guy.
father used to do, every day he would take a nap. He'd come home, he'd go in his chair and then without alarm clock or anything, he would sleep for 15 minutes, get up, and he was refreshed and right back to work. Every day, and that nap helped him out. I remember one time he was on his way to the Newburgh store and he pulled off in front of Stewart to get his nap and a trooper knocked on the window, wanted to know if he was okay. His son was taking a nap.
Angie's got a curtain call.
I
Go
got one
ahead,
more
Angie.
thing, which I should have remembered because it's kind of stupid because it was quite important. I know when Tom was speaking about the fire in 1967, I vividly remember that day because it was May 9th, 1967, and my youngest daughter was born that day, so I'll never forget that day.
Very interesting. Well, anyway, Tommy, we'd like to thank you, and we do have a presentation for you. And this is the certificate that we pass out, and I'll just read it. Certificate of Appreciation presented to Tom Lloyd with sincere appreciation from the Town of Walk Hill Historical Association for your memorable contributions and outstanding performance. And I did add my own little personal note. Tommy, thank you for a very much a magnificent presentation. Russell, if you would come forward and make the presentation. Russell, again, as I said, is our program director. He works very hard at getting these folks up here and coordinating everything. We certainly appreciate your efforts, Russell.
Thank you. Tom, I really appreciate, I'm sure everyone here appreciates the research you had to do to go through to get all
But
these
he
facts.
lived it, he
Yeah.
lived it.
I know, I have to admit, I enjoyed the hell out of it. My old friend,
I really appreciate getting
I know he
this.
said, I know you work very hard, and Tom does a beautiful job too.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, Russ and I are still buddies.
Hey, Tommy, I did notice one interesting aspect. You said it was 19 cents for a chicken dinner?
Yes.
And dynamite was 19 cents? How did you manage that? Just wondered.
Way you go.
Well,
Sure.
I have one interesting thing to say. When Tom and I had our excavating business, Mr. Lloyd had a low spot in the back of his house, and he decided to build a pond there. So we got a machine in there, I dug it out, and it didn't fill in with water as fast as he wanted it to. But he had a well up in back of his house that he didn't use anymore because he had to hook up to the town water.
Municipal.
He said, let's dig a ditch and put a pipe in there and I'll pipe water down to that pond. Well, I went out there with the backhoe, started digging, and Mr. Lloyd came out with dungarees, work boots, and some kind of work-type looking shirt, which I had never seen him like that before because he always had a white shirt and a sport jacket on. And he was my grunt for the day. Now that was something that I can remember
With a
down.
hand shovel.
With a hand shovel, as you say, shovel. So we backfilled it, and I was telling him, don't let any rocks go in the pipe because I don't want the pipe to get collapsed. And he said he would hold me up, and he'd go pick a rock out. I said, okay, come on. So he was really a good grunt, and I didn't have the nerve to say, you want to work with me on my next job? Anyway, we had a good time, and he was just a great man. I loved him so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
Good, wonderful.
We'll be talking.
Our next speaker for next month will be the girl from Orange County Tourism. That's Diana, Amanda Dana. And she's going to be talking about the highlights in Orange County. So that should be very interesting because we probably drive through things and areas that we don't realize how important it is. But she will talk all about that when she's here next month.
And by the way, if you guys come back for that, we'll give you the brochures that we ran out of today. So. Okay, Russell, thank you. Tommy,
Thank you.
everybody else, thank you all very much. Great job, great job. Coffee is in the kitchen.
I'm so sick.